Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing? It's Holly here for the Montessori Mondays live show. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today talking about preparing your home environment so your toddler can thrive. So I am so excited to talk about this today because it really is a great place to start when you start bringing Montessori into your home. You can kind of start checking off the list of prepared places in your home. So first, let me know if you guys are here joining me live. Say hi in the comments. If you're here on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. Let me know how old your child is so that I can start seeing what age range we have here with us today. So this week, I'm back here to talk to you about preparing your home environment, as I just said. So let me ask you, how many of you have prepared a part of your home environment? If you're saying, Holly, what in the heck are you talking about? What is a prepared environment? Don't worry, I'm going to explain this for you today. So essentially, preparing your home environment means creating space in your home for your child. If you think about it, our homes are normally made for adults, right? So when we have children, we need to start making adjustments in our home to help our children feel comfortable in this space as well. So preparing your home environment is kind of a confusing term to those that aren't familiar with Montessori. And I really want to make sure that we're all on the same page today. So if you do have any questions about it throughout this live show, please put them in the comments and I will be answering them live. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and check these comments here and make sure the video is playing. And I'm going to go through and see what age range children we have, parents with children aged toddler age today, because we're going to be focusing on that 12 month to 36 months. Okay, cool. I can see the video here and it's up and working. So I'll go ahead and just get started for today. I want to dive in because we have a lot to discuss. So there are three main stages when it comes to preparing your home environment for 0 to 3-year-olds. So you have the first stage of birth to 5 months, and then you have the next stage of 5 to 12 months, and then the stage we're going to be talking about today, 12 to 36 months, okay? And this is when we talk about preparing the home environment. All right, so with that in mind, let me know again how old your child is, if your child is in that 12 to 36 month range. And while you guys are letting me know what age your child is, I want to talk to you about the different areas in your home. So when we talk about the different areas that need preparing in Montessori terms, we usually focus on these 4 areas: the area for movement or work, the area for sleep, the area for feeding, and the area for physical care. So these are the 4 main places you can think about starting to change to become more Montessori friendly. All right, so let me see who we have here. Carrie, hi Carrie, how are you? 14 months and almost 4. Yes. And my boy is only 6 months old. Okay. So you're going to be, you're probably going to be like on the fence between stage 1 and stage 2 for a 6-month-old. And some of the things that we're going to talk about today are going to be too advanced because we're going to be focusing on that stage from 12 to 36 months today. But you can keep them in mind for when your child starts walking and they get closer to that next stage of 12 months. So one thing that we talk about in the Montessori by Age workshops that I do is breaking these stages, these 3 stages of time down a little bit farther. So instead of the 12 to 36 month period, we break it down to 12 to 18, 18 to 24, etc., just to really help get specific into what your child needs in that specific area. But I want to talk about the area for movement first, okay? So Again, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments as I go through this. But I think when you start Montessori, the first place that you get started with is the area for movement. Now, you probably don't call it the area for movement, but that is what Montessori term would be, area for movement or work. So I would say you are going to want to put this in your main living space. Now, I never say living room because your main living space might not be your living room, but I would say the majority of people, this is going to be your living room. So in your main living space, you're going to want to prepare that environment for your child to feel a part of the family. So if you think about it, if you and your partner spend most of your time in this room, in this main living space, sitting on the couch or just having conversations, then if your child has no belongings in this room, if they don't have a child-sized chair, for example, they might not feel as welcomed as if they had their own belongings in this room. So I guess the idea behind putting their, for instance, shelf or a child-sized chair in the main living space is really important so the child can actually feel a part of the family and they have, a part of the community. It's also really important for the child to be able to see their materials or toys and independently go to them and start working with them. If the materials or toys in, say, a playroom or in the bedroom or another area, they might actually need you to encourage them to go to the bedroom. I'll go to the bedroom and play with your toys. But if they're in the main living space where they're available to see all day long, then they might actually go over to that shelf and play with the materials like on their own, without being asked. Okay. So once you've decided to kind of move your child's belongings, say a shelf and some of their materials, to the main living space, you can start to manage it a lot easier. I mean, when you have a playroom, let's say, it's easy to just shut the door and not think about what's going on in there, right? Because the more toys, the more clutter, it really gets overwhelming for us parents. Where if you have a shelf in your main living space, this is a space that means something to you as well. So you're going to want to keep it in order as well as not cluttered, right? So there's that Montessori recommendation, less is more. And having just 6 to 12 materials out on your shelf at a time is really going to help you keep that consistent, as well as rotating your materials. Now, I want to mention that observing your child and following their lead and rotating are all equally important parts of a well-kept area for movement or work. Now, I'm not going to get into the details about those specific things because we talked about them, I think it was a few weeks ago now during our 4-day challenge, but they are important things that you need to do when you have this area for movement in your home. So these are all aspects that we do focus on in the Montessori by Age workshops, which is a great resource to really help you get started preparing your environment. So let me know right now. I'm going to move on to the next area, but first let me know what questions you guys have about the area for work. Have you been able to set up your main living space in your home for Montessori? I know this is the first place that parents usually get started with when they find Montessori, so I want to make sure your questions are answered and you're feeling confident about moving forward with preparing your main living space. Okay. Hey, Felicia. Hello. No worries. You have 18-month-old. Okay. That's okay. Yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. So just pop your questions you guys might have about this space, and then I'm going to go ahead and get on to talking about the area for sleep. So now that we've kind of talked about this area for movement, we're going to go to the area for sleep. I'm not going in any particular order. So if you want to, do the area for feeding before the area for sleep, that's perfectly fine. So the area for sleep might look completely different for some of you compared to others. Montessori suggests using a floor bed. And at this age, you may or may not have already switched to that style of bed. But the floor bed doesn't have to be used, right? If you are struggling to get on board with using a floor bed, don't feel like you have to use it. One thing I always tell the members in the Montessori Learning Center is that you can always try something, and if it doesn't work for your family, then you can go back, right? There's no, there's no reason that you can't stop what you're doing and go back to the way it was before if it just doesn't work for you. And that usually, for me, when I think of that, I think, okay, then there's no reason not to try, right? So if the floor bed doesn't suit your family, that's okay. But just know that the reason that floor beds are suggested are to aid the child's independence and to be able to give them that freedom of movement. So that's the big idea behind floor beds. And one thing you want to do, if at all possible in the area for sleep, is to keep the area for sleep free from distractions, AKA toys, right? If your child thinks the room is meant for playtime, you're probably going to struggle with nap and nighttime sleeps. Keeping the room clear of any toys will greatly help your child's understanding of the room. So with that said, there are some other items that you can have in the area for sleep, such as a child-sized wardrobe, a small stool, a vertical mirror, which will help with body scheme, and books, right? Some quiet time activities like books. Again, this is something that we focus on inside of the Montessori by Age 12 to 18 month workshop. And especially since this is such a popular age, 12 to 18 months, to kind of get started with Montessori, a lot of parents are wondering what these terms like Montessori floor bed even mean, right? So I'll talk a little bit more about that workshop in a minute. But first, what questions do you have for me about the area for sleep? What do you think? Would you try a floor bed, or do you have a floor bed? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know who's tried it and who's thinking about trying it. All right, we have a playroom, but I spend most of my day in there with the children. Hubby works nights, so it isn't really much. Doesn't matter, that's a dedicated space. I think that's why I say main living space. So if you're spending your main amount of time there, then that's where you want the materials to be. If you're putting it in a room where, nobody really ever goes, then that's going to be the problem. Felicia, he sleeps in our bed, but thinking on pulling a toddler bed into our room. Crib is storage. Yes. We'll probably try it. Yeah. So one thing I know a lot of parents do is you can put your bed on the floor and then put your child's bed on the floor next to you. So you're all doing a floor bed at the same time. That's a good way. And then you would, slowly move him from your bed to his bed and then move his bed into his room. I know that can be a tricky, slow process, moving from co-sleeping to your own bed as a child. I'm scared to try a floor bed. Yes. I think all new things are scary, right? We all get a little bit worried about what's going to happen. And, I suppose it's human nature. We just think the worst is going to happen. But I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, depending on how old your child is. The younger you start, the better. So at 5 months, you're okay to start that floor bed. So I would say, I think personally before crawling is a really great time to start, because you're letting your child associate sleep time with this bed before they can, explore around. Not saying that they're not going to explore around if they start before that, but I think they start associating it a little bit better. So let's see, at what age can the floor bed begin to be appropriate? Yep, so Montessori says from 5 months and beyond. I know plenty of adults that still have floor beds as well. So till forever. Little one is 14 months, still in crib, knows how to open doors, and there are a lot of stairs in the house. So I guess there are a few options you have. I know I've seen this post in the group a few times. There are some strong opinions about what's right and wrong here, but you have to obviously make this choice for yourself. If your child knows how to open the doors already, you could use one of those locks to keep the door locked. You could put perhaps a baby gate on the door, bottom of the door frame, on the other side of the door, if that makes sense. I know a lot of people prefer not leaving the door shut. So even that, maybe even if they can open the door, you would, put your boundary up. It's time for bed. Let's go back to the room and go to bed. And just keep being consistent with that boundary. And the child will eventually understand, but obviously that is a little bit more work for a parent to stay patient in that scenario. Okay, so if you guys have any more questions, let me know in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the area for feeding. So for those of you with the children age 1 to 2, for instance, this is going to be a big one for you and your child. The child will be developing so many new skills at the moment, just becoming more efficient when it comes to feeding, right? This is a time when your child really is striving for independence. They want to feed themselves, for example. Having your area for feeding prepared is really going to help them achieve that goal of independence. So one popular item that you can use in this area for feeding is a self-help station. Let me know in the comments, have you guys heard of a self-help station? Normally, this includes a mixture of things, but mainly a water source, so your child can get their own drink of water, a food source, so they can get their own snack, and access to dinerware, which will allow them to contribute to be a part of the family and help set the table. So this one task is so enjoyable by young toddlers. If you haven't tried it, I really highly suggest allowing your child to help you set the table tonight. You'll see how much they love helping the family in that manner. Okay, so some aids for independence in this area would be a child-sized table, a child-sized chair, child-sized dinerware, and perhaps a stool or learning tower of some sort. Now, inside the Montessori by age 12 to 18-month workshop, we focus on where your child should be sitting for different meal times and snacks. And we also talk about working on mealtime manners, such as throwing food. Anyone have a food thrower? There is a way to kind of nip this in the bud, as they say. So before I go into the workshop details, let me know in the comments if you guys have any other questions about setting up a self-help station in your area for feeding, or any other questions, general questions about the area for feeding. I'm going to pop over the comments here and see what you guys are saying. Tonight we have dining way. Awesome. So we don't do gates, but as a fail-safe for the closed bedroom door becoming open, that would work best. Yep. Okay, let's see. We've tried the water source. It ends up all over the floor. Yes, that is totally something. One thing that I can suggest is having a whole process. So giving your child the opportunity to clean their spills. So if you have a mop there, if you think your child can operate a mop, or even just a dry towel, so that, maybe you have a little basket full of dry towels, and you can show your child when you spill on the floor, then you need to clean it up and put it in the washing machine or wherever you want your child to put it. It's just kind of completing the process, right? So getting a drink of water is not the end of the process, because if you spilled, then that means you need to clean up your spill, right? So that's continuing the process. And if your child is really young, that might be too much for them, but you'll be surprised at how much that sensitive period for order, how much they want to clean up that mess as much as you might want them to. So again, the more consistent you are of reminding them that they need to get a towel and wipe that spill up, the more, they're going to start doing it on their own. Okay. Also planning on the water source when it's warmer, practice outside first. Yeah. Let's see. And you can always we have one of those IKEA kitchens for our self-help station in our house, and we put it in the kitchen next to our counters. And our water source is just a jug. The basin, I suppose, the sink would be what catches our spills. So because ours is movable, ours is like a jug, my daughter or son can move it over to the side and then pick it up and dump it into the sink and then put it back. So they don't actually have to clean it that way. That could be a different process for them. And that also can be removable. So, if it gets to be too much, you can remove the jug and, bring it out maybe a month later if, it's getting misused too much. Is there anything available to let children eat at the table with us? We do have a child-sized table and chairs, but I would like him to eat meals with us at the table. So yeah, like I mentioned, we talk about this in the Montessori workshops, but what we do is we do breakfast, lunch, and snacks at a child-sized table. And then we do the meal times at dinner as a family. So some things that you can do is we have one IKEA junior chair. So if your child's a little bit older, maybe closer to, I guess my 19-month-old now can get on that, climb on that. Or you can do like a trip trap. I think it's Stoke Trip Trap. It's basically like a step to let them get up on this chair on their own. So, and then they sit correctly at the table. They're not crouched down. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not sure if you've heard of those before. Okay, let's move on to the area for physical care. Last but not least of our areas for today. And at the early age of 12 months, this might look different for some children, as some children are not actually walking by 12 months, and that's okay. But just keep this in mind as we talk about this area for physical care. So some children might be doing stand-up diaper changes, and as they get older, they're going to be able to conquer that toilet independence in this space as well. And these are all things to take into account when you are preparing the area for physical care in your home. So if you're still doing diapers, consider switching to those stand-up diaper changes in the bathroom. This is really going to help your child to associate, going to the bathroom in the area for physical care. And this is where we take care of these type of things, which is really going to transition easily into that toilet learning process. For the viewer who has got a 6-month-old, if you're still with us, this is still going to be a changing table situation. So once your child is able to stand or pull up, you can start switching over to the bathroom if you have a pull-up bar in there, or you can allow them to lean on the bathtub while you do stand-up diaper changes. So something to think about. Probably, I would say, 10 to 12 months. But again, every child is different. So you just have to kind of see how that's working for you at the time. So when your child is able to do up those stand-up diaper changes in the bathroom or the area for physical care, you can add some things to help the toilet learning process. And these items include a vertical mirror, again, for that body schema, a small potty or a toilet reducer seat, and a bench or a stool. And this is going to help them get dressed, right? So in addition to those toilet learning aids for independence, you might like to create a self-care station. Now, similar to the self-help station we just talked about in the area for feeding, this is a self-care station. It's all about promoting that independence, right? So start by either lowering that water source that we talked about. In the kitchen, you're going to kind of want to do the same thing, lowering that water source for your child in the bathroom. And adding access to their hairbrush or their toothbrush or other materials that they might be interested in the area for physical care. So giving them access to these items so they can complete the task without an adult's help is the goal here. So when your child is able to complete the task from start to finish on their own, you will see their proud smile when they've completed the task. So in the Montessori by Age 12 to 18-month workshop, bedtime struggles are often a hot topic, right? So having your area for physical care prepared is going to help dissolve those nighttime power struggles with your toddler. So let me know, are you ready to prepare the area for physical care and the other 3 areas in your home? Let me know in the comments if you are planning on making some changes in any of these areas. And if you are ready to get started preparing these environments and you have a 12 to 18 month old, I want to invite you to join me live for the Montessori by Age 12 to 18 month workshop. In this workshop, we're going to focus on setting up your home for Montessori success so you can start seeing your Montessori benefits in your child, such as independence and confidence. You also focus on finding the exact activities that your child will play independently with for more than 30 seconds and working through those Montessori sensitive periods so your child can thrive at every stage. And this workshop will be live on May 20th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So don't wait to get registered. And I'm going to add the link in the comments right now. So let me know what questions you guys have for me about this workshop or about preparing your home environment for toddler. And I'm going to answer those before I sign off for the day. Just quickly grab that link for you guys. And there we go. So if you are interested, please feel free to join us. It's going to be a really great workshop. Again, we're going to focus on 12 to 18 month olds for this particular workshop. But we will have some more of these coming up if you have a different age child. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put the link in there. Let me have a look at the stand-up diaper changes. Woohoo, Felicia, are you doing them? Carrie, I've done this, but end up having to take the toothbrushes away. And I think, was it you that said, Carrie's part of the membership, the Montessori Learning Center membership, and I can't remember now. Did you say that, was it you who said you had to take the toothbrushes away because you have wooden floors and socks on? So obviously it's a bit dangerous. I would say if you're having a situation like that, again, having that consistency and boundary, when we're done with a toothbrush, we put it back in the cup. Toothbrushes aren't for playing. We use them to brush our teeth, put it back in the cup. Obviously, it can be an endless struggle. And sometimes, yes, you just need to put them up because we as parents need a break from doing this constant redirection sometimes. But the more you do it, the more they will understand. Okay, I have the day off tomorrow. I'm going to work on the area for self-care. Awesome. You'll have to share some photos with us. I don't think I said in the presentation, if you don't have a separate space for a self-care station, all you really need is a stool to give your child access to the sink, right? Bring them up to the sink, similar to a learning tower in the kitchen. Bring them up to the sink so they can reach all of the things. Yuzella, hello. Hi, Holly. I was late, but I'm here. My child is 12 months. I prepared the area for physical care, but Bub is the age that he throws everything. So he takes his brushes and they all go to the bathtub. I guess it's all about persistence. Yes, you're right. And yeah, like I said, if you're feeling a little exhausted by it, then just take them out and bring them back a couple weeks, right? It's pretty much like anything else. Rotate it out and then see how it goes the next time, right? I would give it about 2 weeks if you want to give a little break and just give their toothbrush to them at one particular time in the day rather than having access all the time. So it's up to you, but just know you can rotate these things out as well to see if your child is ready for that independence. Hopefully that makes sense for you. All right, does anyone have any more questions for me? I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, but if you are on the replay, for instance, or if you're here with me live and you ask a question after I hop off the call, then I can come back and answer them for you. Felicia is saying, I can't copy the link. Can you post in the group? Yes, I will post in the group. No worries. Thanks for that. I don't know why you can't copy it. I suppose if you click on it right now, you'll be taken away from the video as well. So maybe you'll be able to click on it afterwards. Anyways, I will put it in the group and I'll tag your name there, Felicia. I'll make a note now so that I don't forget. Otherwise, I'm still claiming mom brain, even though my child is 19 months old. I can't remember anything. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of Montessori Mondays with Holly. And next week, if you really don't want to miss this, because I'm going to be having a little free gift for everyone who watches. So hopefully you'll be able to join me at the same time next week. I'm not going to tell you what we're talking about just yet, but I will. I'll be spilling the beans in a few days anyway. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.